Okay, just got into the express lane, which means I'm now on the far left of the freeway and just have a straight shot in my commute. And as I've spoken about in another episode, really like to use this time as an opportunity rather than being the bane of my existence. So for example, I might be in the express lane, but I'm going like very, very slow. And that being said, I can still use this as an opportunity to get really focused on the things that are going to make a difference, because TotaLiving BSD is about being better, stronger, doing what matters. And so I love this opportunity and take advantage of the opportunity to get really focused. And in that context, I want to use this series, we're calling it Road Raise. Not road rage, but road raise. Like real slow traffic, be easy going to road rage right now. Got meetings with clients to take care of. That being said, it is what it is. Let's just roll with it. This morning, where I really wanted to focus on is what is this concept of road raise, and what's the difference between road rage. So road rage and rage in general, rage can be a very, very powerful tool. You know, everything has its plus and minus. You know, you take a knife, put it in the hands of a criminal, it takes a life. Take a knife, put it in the hands of a surgeon, it saves a life. It's not the knife, it's how it's used. Majority of things are like that. Not all of them, but majority. So that being said, rage. Rage used in relationships, generally speaking, is a very destructive item. Rage in general, for oneself, one's stress levels, etc., very, very destructive. But rage can have a positive purpose. When you rage, when you're obsessed, when I are obsessed about something and want to accomplish it, and we harness that intensity of rage, we rage, maybe you call it righteous indignation, not necessarily being religious, I'm saying, and not there's anything wrong with that necessarily either, but go beyond that box. When you have a righteous indignation for your cause, you are passionate, you believe in it, it's equivalent to rage, but in the positive. So if rage is such an amazing thing, why wouldn't I want to road rage? Forget the negative connotation of road rage. Maybe I can learn from that. No, we're going to take it yet another level up, because we want to be better, stronger, and ultimately do what matters. So that's why the concept of road raise. So in the concept of raising something, going to the next level, see, I don't want to get into inspiration. I hate, talk about rage. I hate inspiration. And the reason that I do that is, the reason I feel that way is because to me, and this is just me, maybe it's not you, but just me, and maybe some of you can relate, inspiration is temporary. It comes and it goes. And, you know, and as soon as someone's inspired, it's almost like in the undercurrent, you know that there's going to be the crash. You're inspired now, but in 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 months, 5 years, you're not going to be inspired. So inspiration, it's kind of like drinking coffee, right? You know you're going to get that spike, but you're going to crash. So wouldn't it just make more sense to focus on something? Do what matters. Focus on something. It's not just going to give you a rush in inspiration, but focus on it's actually going to bring you there. It's going to elevate you. It's going to put us in that frame of mind that's the place to be. So let me give a couple examples to try and bring this down more practically. You can take someone, for example, and this is really what the inspiration is, not just this series that I'm going to call Road Raise within the context of TotaLiving BSD. But this morning I had the privilege to drink in some of the waters of wisdom. And in this particular discourse that I was immersed in, this godly wisdom that I was immersed in, I was talking about the concept of peace, being redeemed in peace. I'm not going to get into the full context, but the nugget was there's two ways to go about overcoming an enemy, and the emphasis of the mimer is not an external enemy, it's the enemy within. Those dueling conflicts we have within ourselves of doing what matters, knowing what we need to do, and getting it done. But how do you accomplish that? So there's two ways to go about it. You can battle it out. Practical example. Chocolate cake's in front of you. You're trying to lose weight. I want to lose weight, but man, that chocolate cake looks really good. It's a battle, right? That's one example. Take anything that you're in conflict about. There's a battle. And so, battle denotes you're going to get into it. You're going to try and rationalize. You're going to try and rage. Maybe you'll just simply overpower it. And so in that sense, that's where rage, in the positive sense, can be really, really beneficial and really helpful. Because if you rage for something positive, you rage for your health, you're not going to eat that cake. If you get in a rage, you're going to say, why would I want to eat that cake? I just worked so hard. I just lost X amount of pounds. You know how much work it took me to lose that weight? And now I'm going to waste it in 10 seconds by eating a stupid piece of chocolate. Are you crazy? Right? So rage could be very, very positive. But in this concept of shalom, of peace, and not the way we normally think about peace, I'm not going to get into it now, but the concept is go beyond battle, go beyond conflict. There's a higher level. If you get to an elevated place in your mind and you lock into that mindfulness, there won't be any conflict to begin with. So let me give two quick examples on that. One's a story, and one's a personal experience of mine. I'll share with you. Maybe you can relate, maybe not. So in this story, there was once a rabbi. This is, I believe, in the 1800s, and he was running into some significant opposition into a more deeper personal path in carrying out his personal development and the way he was teaching personal development, to put it in more universal terms. And there were a lot of questions about his approach. And so what they decided to do was have a debate and put everything to rest. The challenge is that the debate was based on a lot of legalese and a lot of fundamental concepts, and so really getting to the minutia of those concepts, which way it was like a legal debate and at the same time a philosophical debate. But the opponents to this rabbi, there was something more to it. It wasn't just a rational issue. It was really had an undercurrent of an emotional, fundamental dislike for the whole thing. And maybe you've experienced that. You know, someone walks into the room and you get this kind of sensation, not you, someone else, but maybe you can imagine. And you just, I don't like this person, your gut. And then you start to hang it on something. You find a reason to justify that gut reaction. Oh, I don't like the way he looked at me. I don't like the way he said. I don't like the way he does business. I don't like the way he dresses. That kind of stuff, right? So, in other words, it's a rationale to justify, but it's really not based on a rational concept. It's really a gut feeling, an emotional reflex. So we had both dynamics here in this debate. On the one hand, they said, oh, if you'll answer our questions on the legal premise of your approach, and if you resolve that adequately, then we'll be on board with you. And if you don't, well, we win. So this rabbi responded and he said, fine, no problem. As we say in the modern language, bring it. He didn't say that, I'm just saying. So he said, no problem, let's hear the questions. And I'm willing to answer all of your questions, but I have one request. Before I answer your questions, I'd like to share with you a melody. Okay. So this rabbi began to sing a very intense, wordless, soulful melody. And as the other attending rabbis and scholars in the audience heard this melody, they became swept up in it. And they felt themselves in the beauty of of this music, and anyone who has an appreciation for music can probably relate to this example. Regardless, in this case, it's Jewish music or not, music has that power. And they got swept up in this melody, and they felt lifted higher. So this melody went on for several minutes, and after the melody was over, well, not quite over, as the melody was going on, in the background chatter of the different rabbis and scholars sitting in the audience that were ready to ask all these questions and be almost attacking in the debate, suddenly felt the complexities of the things that were bothering them, the legal difficulties, unravel and unwind themselves. The questions were becoming self-resolved to the point that they were starting to wonder what their question was to begin with. They just got to that place of mind. They felt themselves in a higher plane of perspective where the question was no longer a question. And when he ended the melody, he asked the audience, does anyone have any questions? And there were no questions. Now, if that's a little bit abstract, let me try and shift it to a personal experience. In the personal experience, many years ago, I was catching a flight, and I think this was in New York. And as I settled myself in, I had a window seat, and I'm looking outside, and it's just one of those miserable days, so to speak. It depends on how you frame it. But by most people, many people's evaluation, rain coming down, and it was gray, and it was dreary outside, and just ugh. By many people, not everyone, not if you have a TotaLiving point of view. Let's just get into it. Until it's raining and raining, raining. So finally, the plane gets on the on the runway, takes off, and it's raining and it's raining and it's raining, and there's rain coming down on the window. All of a sudden, poof, we break through the clouds. So it's gorgeous, bright blue skies, a soft ocean bed of white fluffy clouds, and just radiance everywhere. Brilliant sunlight, bright, vibrant, a blue sky background, like I said, a white fluffy cloud bed. And I looked at that, and in realizing that, and believing that everything that happens, nothing's by coincidence, there's always some lesson to test. What could I learn from this experience? What could I gain from it? I said, just moments ago, I was on the ground and experiencing like a negative perspective. I was swept up in the dreariness of the rain and all of that. But once I got above the clouds, when I got elevated to a higher level, I really saw that in the same location, just but from a higher point of view, it's all sunny. It's all bright skies. So that's really what I hope to accomplish together with you in this particular series of Road Raise. Let's raise it up. Let's take it to a higher level. Let's get elevated. Let's get to that place of mind, that mindfulness, where the questions resolve themselves, and we're able to take in, instead of seeing rain, we see bright sunny skies, and we're able to lock into that, and then bring that into our day, and let that wash over and let that affect everyone who we come in contact with, both in our personal relationships and our business relationships. So with that, hopefully that gives a little bit of insight. And let's continue the conversation. Reach out to me on Facebook or Twitter or on my homepage, and we'll take it from there. And look at that. Traffic's picking up. It's starting to flow.